I'd like to call this meeting of the SHAC Committee to order at 4:05, and there is a quorum in the meeting. First and foremost, thank you for taking time out of your busy days so that we can attend to the business at hand with the SHAC Committee. There's no public comment, so we're going to move to item number 4, the department reports. Mr. Smithwick, you'll lead us off. Oh, make sure you push your little button.
All right. So for the student drug testing, since our last SHAC, we have had 82 students that have been drug tested. Of those 82 students that we have had drug tested, there have only been 3 positives that have been reported. The 3 that were reported, 2 of them were from the same student. So there is a repeat offender on that one, and that picked that up. The only other thing that I would say to add in there, and this is just kind of updating everybody, was I spoke with our contact at the drug testing place, and he was saying that they are looking into adding the Delta 8 panel on the panel of what they test for. Right now it only detects Delta 9, and he had our samples detected if they ran it under a Delta 8 panel as well, and it ended up picking up another, I think he said 3 people. So that's not something they currently test for, but they're looking into adding that panel on there.
Just for clarification, can you kind of explain the difference between the 2 variants, 8 and 9?
Yeah, Delta 8 and Delta 9 are both variants of THC, and Delta 8 is a significantly more potent one. Delta 9 is significantly more potent. Delta 8 is less likely to trigger on those, and that's why it's becoming more and more popular, because it's a less concentrated version of THC, and more people are using it because they're able to get away with using it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Renner, do you have any updates on SEL?
Just that we are in the process of doing the spring administration of PASS with all of our campuses. That is it.
Thank you. Krista, do you have anything on the health care side?
Just that we haven't had any positive COVID reports since late January across the district, so that's looking good. We're having a bit of an uptick with strep and tummy bugs right now, but other than that, we're doing great.
All right, thank you. There's not any physical education updates. Tina, child nutrition, anything?
The only thing I might have is that starting June 2nd, we will start doing summer meals for ages 1 to 18, free to every student that is either enrolled in summer school or just within the community.
Thank you. Just a little side note, got a message from Miss Fewen at the elementary. She's been dealing with some of the court issues that we've all been dealing with in the recent days. But they did make a comment asked about summer school, and explained that we transported and fed our kids for summer school, and the person at the courts made the statement that we were one of just a couple in Johnson County that provided that for our kids. So kudos on that. All right. Let's move down to number 5. Annually, we have to go through and review and renew our SHAC policy. And I emailed, and I don't believe I can send it to everyone in the room, but I emailed out the full version of this. The areas that we need to look at are concerning. If there's anything that you found through your reading that we need to address and adjust, that's what we're here for today. So as we go through this, just make sure you punch your microphone, and that way we can make any changes or updates that we can.
sorry. So everyone doesn't have the full policy, they just have the last 6 pages, right?
They were emailed.
Okay, okay. The only thing that I noticed that I thought, I just wanted to ask you about, first of all, on page 3, when it's talking about the child nutrition services, we've changed extensions since this policy's been done, and mine says 715, and it needs to be 2315. That's on page 3 of this thing, okay? The other thing I noticed is, I didn't know if we want to do a different wording or leave it the way it is, but on page 4, it talked about, it actually says at the beginning of the school year, each campus principal will turn in to the assistant principal all the days that they're gonna be selling non-nutritional items. I don't think we really do that. I know at the high school, it's just whenever it comes up and it's gonna happen. So I don't know if we need to reword that, because we're actually not following policy unless we reword that.
Well, and we can address that, and do like a fall and a spring version of it.
Yes, or even if we set a time, if you were gonna be selling, and one of the principals knew they was gonna be selling on the week of Christmas, they could turn that in to you a week ahead, as long as
Right.
it's turned in ahead of time. As long as it's turned in ahead of
Yep.
time, then we've done due diligence.
Yes, okay, we'll address that one.
Okay. And then one more, on down the line on the same page, when it talks about the celebrations or parties 15 days a year, it said documentation of these 15 days shall be recorded in advance and turned into the assistant principal at the beginning of each semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're really doing that. I think that, for sure, elementary and primary, I think they pretty much turn theirs in at the beginning of the year. And I think one of them had to maybe make a change or two, but not many
Right.
at all.
Right.
But again, how are we gonna word that to let it be what we're really doing?
Gotcha.
So what we're getting ready to do is all of the principals are turning in all of their extracurriculars and their information for when their celebrations and their awards and all that will be held for next school year in May. So we will have all of that information documented and on the district calendar by the first or second week of June.
That'd be awesome. And even if we do, someone decides to come up with a sale FFA or whatever that we didn't have recorded, that's not to say that we can't add it, record it, turn in the documentation and still do it.
Any other things, Tina?
Only thing for me is on the implementation page, when we're talking about the goals, which I think everybody has a
Right.
copy of that today. The very first one, I'd like to make a change because it's talking about food and nutrition services we are not using nutrition nuggets this year. We're using the kitchen times, but so we don't have to keep changing that. Could we just put nutrition materials instead of, that way we can change that if needed.
Okay,
And then also, we need to put in squaremeals.org as far as nutrition website, and that's not there yet. That's not there now,
so,
but it needs to be added, yeah. And then only one more thing that was brought up to me, from our primary principal, was that she thinks it would be a good idea that maybe at some point, whether it be at the beginning of the year or whenever we may do that, you had mentioned to me that it might be good if I maybe come over. I do nutrition education at the beginning of the school year, and I come to each of the campuses and give my little spiel I have to every year about our nutrition implementation in the classroom. This would actually be a good time right there that I could go ahead and talk to them, because a lot of the teachers really may not know. We get new teachers every year, and they may not know every rule and regulation about having a party or the days of, that they could do instruction in the classroom. They may not know all of that. And so she had just brought it up to me that might be good for us to be able to share that with the teachers. That way we know that they all know.
exactly. Okay, thank you, Tina. All right, as we go down through objective number 2, fitness information, we have any changes there? Okay. And you've already looked at the objective one, maintain food nutritional service webpage, we're good there.
Yes, there was one more thing I better go ahead and throw in. It was on page 8 of this. It says, each campus will designate at least 5 days for nutrition education. We're really not doing that anymore. We're doing it once a month whenever I give you the nutrition materials.
Okay,
Does that need to be changed or word different, or is it okay to say 5 days, even though it's not necessarily 5 days?
I would say we should just eliminate that
Okay. And say monthly, once a month?
monthly.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
It does say on page 9 that the teachers and staff should be ready by the second week in September.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's just jump back
Okay.
and take it from the
Okay.
top to the bottom,
Okay.
okay? Anything else on the first page, on page 6? All right, moving to page 7, is there anything on page 7 that we need to address?
We did have a question about, under objective 1, it says, we will post posters in campus cafeteria service and dining areas as space allows, but then it says those will be reviewed prior to each SHAC meeting.
And we haven't been doing
We
that.
haven't done any of that.
Who is to review that?
Well, I mean,
That's part of our question, we don't
right.
know.
Yeah.
and that's the thing is we see it on a daily basis at the campus, but does it qualify under review prior to each SHAC
Right,
meeting?
do we even need to have it there?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know that it needs to be there.
No, we'll strike that.
Okay.
All right, moving on to page 8. Any adjustments to page 8?
The only thing I had on 8 is, Tina, I didn't remember, did you come to campuses this year at the beginning of the year?
Yes.
I knew we had done it in the past, I just didn't remember it this year.
All I share each year is what we're doing for nutrition education in the classroom.
Mhm.
That way, those monthly flyers that y'all get, they go to the campuses and put in their boxes, and they teach on that at some point throughout that week or what have you.
Okay.
And then it's supposed to be turned in, I thought, to the principal.
Yes, and I do
Goes to
have,
Debbie.
I have a bunch of those.
Is there a way to adapt those flyers to maybe where, rather than putting it in the teachers, like the flexibility to maybe designate a day or a week and that's a theme, like every month has a theme? Because I know how it's easy for teachers to forget. I know you,
So, in other words, don't put them in the teachers' cubbies, send that to the principal, let the principal decide what teachers do that?
No, just the theme. If they can like tell us the theme, and they can include it in their lesson plans or something, but I mean, I know a lot of it it's hard to
Right.
write as
So
a
the only
reminder.
thing, we do pay for these materials, so I would like to take advantage of them, and they could just pick 1 or 2 items off of that paper, they don't even have to teach everything on it, just pick, they could pick the theme, the one thing that they would like to discuss.
Well, here's my thought in the process is you share it with the campus principals and then let them review to see what items that might be pertinent more so to their campus. And then they can address it with the teachers and it goes in the boxes.
That would keep us from actually printing them and making copies and taking them and putting them in copies. So just send it each month to the principal.
But so you give them, I mean, I don't know if Teal puts them in the boxes or, I don't know who puts them in the boxes, but then the teachers, after they go over them, then they sign them and date them, and then they turn them into Debbie as the documentation.
Right.
So if you're not printing them, then I'm gonna have to print them.
Then I'll be glad to print them too, I mean, if that's what we want to do, as long as I know what
Yeah.
we
Right.
want each to do,
And
and what we put in class.
I do mine the same way as Lori.
And then Debbie goes through every month, and if the teacher hasn't turned it in, she requests it from them. They get it turned in with the date that they went over the well, I know it's not called nutrition nuggets anymore, but
Right.
they go over it, and then Debbie keeps all of that on file for you.
And then we take that at the end of the year and make a report off of it.
Yeah.
That's
So
What about if I just go ahead and put them in the cubbies? Or if you wanna let me know each month what teachers you want to have them, I can just send them to that teacher.
It doesn't matter. I was really just trying to think what's efficient,
Okay.
and I've seen it where
Gotcha.
not so much.
Page 9, anything in regard to that? In this, in the middle of the page, just a reminder for the campuses. I know we have done our jump rope for heart and things of that nature, but I need some of the documentation for that as far as our health and wellness fitness activities for each campus.
On the bottom of page 9, it talks about campus administrators will ensure opportunities for teachers to share ideas and strategies for integrating physical activity into academic curriculum. And then campus administrators will monitor follow-through with integration through teachers.
On their lesson plans.
Yeah,
Like I don't,
that's not happening on my campus.
Not happening
I
on
mean,
my
they have time to talk, but they're talking about their content, not necessarily physical activity.
Okay. So we need to strike that.
I think, for me,
Y'all have to speak up. Y'all talk about the high school, I'm just speaking for me.
Okay.
Trying to read and write and feel it, do arithmetic.
All right, moving to page 10, and this one is pretty much self-explanatory as far as the first part of this, and this is something that we do. COVID made some adjustments on that as far as what we were able to do, but now we're back to full swing as far as our partnership with BYSA. Anything else on page 10?
we have not had at least one activity, like this year, we did not do a Biggest Loser, Blue Zone presentation or Zumba.
Okay.
Like we,
Is this, and I realize that a lot of this has been due to COVID and our inability to do some things. Is this something that we want to keep in our policy?
We have on occasion done Biggest Loser, but we haven't in the last 2 years, but.
That's my question is,
Yeah.
we've been restricted on COVID type things.
Yeah.
Do we want to keep this or include it or strike it? Well,
I will go
it's
with
in
the
our,
majority.
yeah, it's in our policy that we do these things. That's why we're going
Right.
through this. If we're not doing these things, we need to adjust or strike.
We have not been doing that.
Okay. All right. Anything else? And I know 10 bleeds into 11.
Yes, and that one I have marked also. Each campus will provide at least one opportunity for physical activities as a family, such as Mighty Milers, Family Olympics, parental involvement calendar activities. We do have some parental involvement stuff, but it's not necessarily physical activity stuff.
Okay.
So does that count, or do we
Well,
need to change that?
that's something that we can wordsmith.
Okay.
And so we'll make an adjustment on that one. Because I haven't seen a Mighty Miler or Family Olympics since I've been here. Anything else on page 11? All right, moving on to 12.
The last one, on 12 says the district will provide at no cost to employees vision insurance, dental insurance, and care flight. We are not providing all of that free of charge any longer.
Okay. I'll get with, Stephen and Megan and make sure that we have, I know there's a care flight membership.
Yes. I think care flight is still free, but I think dental and vision, we pay something for those.
What, as far as, have we hosted a flu shot this year? And health matters screening?
We did a flu or a vaccination clinic earlier in the year. We had another one scheduled for April, but the people that we had contracted with to do it, their bus was out of commission, and so they canceled on us. So
Okay.
we were trying to get another one on the books, but we can't get a hold of them. So we're gonna do one in the fall.
Okay. What about the health matters screening?
Not that I know of.
No? Okay, we'll strike that.
We did one, I think, last year, or maybe the year before, but we didn't do one this year.
Okay. Any other recommendations? Then I will need a motion and a second to approve as amended.
I will make the motion to approve the student welfare, wellness, and health services document as amended.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Buck and a second by Ms. Box. All in favor? Passes. Okay. Mr. Hopper was going to be here to visit with us briefly on something that we've come across that needs some attention, as far as having an actual VISD suicide prevention policy regarding health and wellness. And so we were going to start that conversation today with this committee, and then we will continue to address it next week in our DIP, so that we have the verbiage, the correct verbiage in our DIPs and SIPs to meet the legislative requirements that have been rolled out. While we're waiting on this response, are there any other discussion items that we need to address by the panel? I know we're quickly running to the end of the school year, and it can't get through these last few weeks without several things going on. But we will get there. Just another little side note, so we're all on the same page. We are in the process of updating our website. So by the first part of June, our website will take on a different vision. So it'll be revamped and reworked. So it'll look a little bit different in regards to the setup, where all the facets that we currently have are included. So just be ready for that one as well. Are there any requests, additional items that we need to discuss moving forward? Well, moving on to item number 8, we will adjourn this meeting of SHAC at 4:32. Thank you so much.